Buen día al Medio Oeste. Este es el programa de televisión que te da noticias, información, entretenimiento y mucho más. Ahora, quédate con nuestros anfitriones. ¡Al día!
Hola amigos, bienvenidos nuevamente a otro de sus programas favoritos, Al Día. Hoy tenemos un invitado muy interesante. Este programa va a estar muy bueno. Pero primero quiero darle las gracias a Vera McKinnon, quiero darle las gracias a Pulso Hispano y a USA Media TV por su patrocinio. Y bueno, ¿por qué no vamos a ver quién es nuestro invitado este día? ¿Y por qué no hablamos con él? Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Alex, for inviting
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you.
So, I mean, I'm very excited about your project because I've heard a mutual friend talk about it, and she actually sent me some little clips of it.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, this is so great. I think this is going to take place of what is the original big superstar, Christ Superstar? What do you call
Jesus
it?
Christ Superstar. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of like got the same level of quality.
Wow, thank you. Well, I hope you're right. And by the way, you're now in the official army and family of Heaven to Heaven. Look at that, Alex is in. Yeah. Well, I should tell you the story real quick.
Yeah, please do.
About 12 and a half years ago, my son was an actor coming up in high school. Mm-hmm. We've all seen the high school plays. And he was in a play called South Pacific, put on by Rodgers and Hammerstein, produced by them. And there was a scene in there that some felt was inappropriate. And so at the time, Jay Wadstrow, who is the superintendent of Sioux Falls Christian, was going to take the particular scene out. And they compromised and said, well, we'll just change the scene a little. Well, afterwards, I felt bad. I went up to Jay and I said, Jay, I'm sorry you had to do that, and we're put in that position. And he said, Austin, I just wish there were more good Christian musicals out there. And something went off in my heart, and I thought, where are the good Christian musicals? I couldn't come up with any. And then suddenly I thought about Godspell, which was 48 years ago, Jesus Christ Superstar, 46 years ago. So I went home and I determined this, and you'll like this part of the story, I think, Alex. I went home and I thought, I'm going to write a good Christian musical from start to finish. But here's the challenge. I can't read a note of music. I don't know a G from a B or whatever. I used to play a guitar and have chords when I was 19, 20 years old, but now I knew 8 chords. I thought I was John Denver, whatever. But I went home and I thought...
So you use the guitar to actually compose it?
No. Actually, what happened was I knew some chords, but I didn't know the notes. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I got my daughter's electronic keyboard out. She'd been playing since she was 11 years old. And I took numbers with a pencil. And I put 1 through 8 because I knew there were 8 notes in an octave. So I put 1 and 8 on the same note, and then all the way through 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I locked myself in my basement and I prayed about it. I read the New Testament, and in 3 days and 3 nights, all these songs that came through my mind as I walked through the life of Jesus, I wrote the lyrics down, and I went through the life of Jesus chronologically, and all these lyrics came, I wrote them down. And these song melodies came, I just go 2, 3, 3, 6, and that's all. So then I invited this 17-year-old young man to come over, and I said, I have these notes, I'm going to play them for you. You tell me, what chord is this? So I played, and he said, well, that's a G chord. And I said, can you play a G? He played a G. I said, okay, good. So I wrote that down. Anyway, to make a long story short, I got that all done. I wrote this musical. It was only on a CD. Well, roll the clock up about a year ago. I'm talking to my business partner, and we're talking about special things. I said I wrote a musical about 12 and a half years ago, and I wrote it in 3 days and 3 nights. And he said, you wrote a musical? I said, yeah, and I don't know how to write music. So the God's truth of this, and I believe every one of those words and lyrics was inspired by the Lord himself. I showed it to him, and 24 hours later he said, Austin, my wife and I want to help you produce this musical from start to finish. We're going to go to Nashville, we're going to hire professional singers, and we're going to do the original soundtrack. Well, Joe Obermuller, who is the Associate Professor of Theater and Director of Theater at the University of Sioux Falls here in town, he got wind of this. We had a couple meetings, and he saw our enthusiasm, our passion to make this a global entity. And he said, I want to do this in November. So now here we are today. We've been working 3, 4, 5 weeks at USF. The University of Sioux Falls is putting on Heaven to Heaven the premiere showing at the University of Sioux Falls, November 20th through the 24th. 5 performances of a musical I wrote 12 and a half years ago, and I give God all the credit for that. I couldn't take credit because I tell you what, I can't write music, but I did.
Austin, you gave me chills when you told me that story, because I really do believe that you were probably touched by God.
Yes.
Because I don't see how you could have done that with no music knowledge.
I actually wrote the songs in 8 hours, all 21 songs.
Wow.
And and that's what I can. I'm glad you got a little, of that,
man. Yeah. I got another story to tell you. Now we're gonna run real quick to an interview that we're gonna watch from a doctor from Avera that's gonna give us some advice.
Great.
And then we'll be back, because I do want to hear a little more about the process, and I want to hear more about the musicians. I want to hear, what your involvement was when on creating all of these. Were you there every step of the way?
Yes.
Okay, so regresamos en un momento. Vamos a seguir hablando con Austin. Nos vamos a ir con una pequeña cápsula de Avera y regresamos con ustedes. No se vayan.
When it comes to healthcare, 9 to 5 isn't always an option for me.
I get my annual screenings, but I'm not stopping for sinus infections or allergies, even though I probably should. That's why Avera Now is perfect for me. I could grab my phone, computer, or tablet, and the health system I trust is there for me instantly, and I go back to not missing a beat.
Moving at the speed of life. Avera Now.
Amigos, ¿vieron las noticias que salieron en el periódico Mundo Latino? No se les olvide recoger una copia aquí en la ciudad de Sioux Falls, completamente en español para todos ustedes. Mundo Latino, en español.
Se trata de divertirse mientras aprendes. Se trata de desarrollar hábitos para toda la vida. Se trata de crecer carácter, pero también de crecer. Pero crecer no quiere decir crecer aparte. La experiencia de los Scouts crea mejores uniones en la familia, mientras los padres e hijos aprenden y se divierten juntos. Sé parte de algo especial para ti y tu hijo. Envuélvete en los Scouts hoy mismo.
Bueno, amigos, ya estamos de regreso y vamos a seguir hablando de este tema que la verdad me tiene bien emocionado. Yo quiero ir a ver esto va a ser como una de las obras iba a decir del siglo, pero del centenio, ¿no? Porque él me estaba contando que este tipo de cosas no se han hecho por muchísimos años. Entonces, let's continue talking to Austin. And again, I'm very excited about this. I can't wait to see it, to hear it in real life. Would you tell me what kind of involvement you had with the development, like when they were recording or when they were practicing? Were you there every step of the way?
I was, and my wife and I stepped into the hotel room at Nashville. I took a selfie, and I looked at my wife and I said, I don't know if you could find 2 less qualified people to produce an entire musical, but that's how God works. I've always said the number one ability God is looking for is availability. Mm-hmm. I believe strongly in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3. Commit your plans to the Lord, and they will succeed. Proverbs 16:9 says, as in a man's heart, He plans the course of his life, but it's the Lord that directs every one of his steps. And I've lived by those most of my life. And I just trust in the providence of God. I don't think there was any reason other than for him to say, I think I'm going to use you to write this because I know how passionate you are about the things of God. So we went to Nashville. We hired some singers. And I got to confess, my son is an incredible singer. He's a songwriter and everything. But I wasn't going to invite him at first because I thought, well, I'll find another singer and I know he'll be okay. But the producer down there knows my son, and he said, I assume you're going to let your son sing on this. And I said, well, yeah, you think I knew he'd do fine, but I said, you think he'd do okay? He said, Austin, you have to have Brett and Laura, his wife, sing on this. So Brett sings all 4 of the songs that Jesus would sing in the musical, and his wife Laura sings all the songs Mary, the mother of Jesus, would sing, and it's incredible. The soundtrack is 21 songs. We have some featured singers, and they're all professionals. It was amazing. You asked me, and by the way, interrupt any time because I'll keep talking.
No,
but they asked me, to come down to Nashville, and I sat there and I got to help, and I listened for how these songs were done, and I tell you, the original songs, very primitive, me singing over these punched piano parts, and then what they did in Nashville is unbelievable. And if you get a chance, I have a website, and it's heaventoheaven.com.
And we'll put it down here so people can see.
It's just heaventoheaven.com. And if you go there, you'll learn the story. You'll get to hear all the songs. You can read the script. You'll get to see the making of the soundtrack in Nashville. But it's just been a fantastic experience.
Can you actually hear the full songs there? Or is it just
almost. They're previews for people who want.
Okay.
That way, if I just gave the songs away, the ministry would not get to gain by that. So you'll hear most of those songs, probably 3/4 of every song that's on there. But you'll get to hear the professional way they were produced from our genius in Nashville, Stephen Lywicki, who is he's an amazing producer.
But the actual show will be done and performed by different people, correct? Is that
yes?
But also, are they all local musicians or
yes?
Or
and I want to
artists?
mention, thank you for asking that, Alex. Avera, you work with those people, wonderful people, and I told these people, especially Tim Kreminga and David Fleechek and other great leaders at Avera, we talked about them getting involved. This is the story of the great physician. And there you go. And so it's on the life of Jesus chronologically. All these songs go in the chronological order of his life, from the angelic announcement of his birth all the way right up to before his ascension. And I want to mention that here in a second. But Avera McKinnon signed up, and they bought a whole bunch of tickets for their employees, and just a very generous contribution to the University of Sioux Falls to say, we're behind this kind of quality production. But yeah, the kids who have come in as theater majors, they're great singers. I actually had lunch with Jesus a couple days ago, and I can say that because it was the guy playing Jesus, Drew. Yeah, it was Drew, and
I was starting to get a little.
Exactly. I had lunch with Jesus, but his heart is into this. All these young people are into that. These are 18 to 22-year-old people, and a couple others that are a little bit older, but they have invested themselves now for a couple of weeks, and I've gone to a couple of the rehearsals, and I sit there with tears in my eyes, looking out and saying, Lord, you wrote this through me, and I can't express in gratitude how humbling it is to hear someone else singing the songs you wrote that you didn't write. But I really believe God wrote them through me. And if you come to the performance, you'll hear these songs. They're not only entertaining, which they're very entertaining.
No, I've listened to some of them. They're great songs.
Yeah, they're encouraging, and most of all, they're evangelistic. The last song you hear when you leave, they sing these words: "Go tell the lost, tell them of heaven, and bring them to Him." So I'm very, very proud of how this is going.
Yes.
Very excited.
Yeah, well, I even going back to Jesus Superstar, I remember when I used to watch that when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I used to love it, and it used to bring tears to my face. I just can't imagine now what I'm gonna feel with this, and I'm gonna bring my kids, my wife, and my family, because they need to see something like this, and to know that it's someone from our community that actually created this.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to this. We have this segment. It's called a virtual trip, and we usually go to somewhere in South America, or maybe we've gone to Europe. We've gone to all these different places, and it's sort of a way for people to see beautiful images of all these places. And so when we come back, I want to hear a little bit more about. But actually, I want to hear when it's gonna be and where. How do they get tickets? How do they get there?
I'll tell you that. Thank you.
And but regresamos en un momento. vámonos para nuestro viaje virtual y después regresamos con un poco más de Austin, que nos va a contar de Heaven to Heaven. Hola amigos, ya estamos de regreso y tenemos aquí a Miriam de los Boy Scouts de América, que nos va a platicar algo muy interesante, un programa muy bonito que tienen ahora de fútbol. ¿Por qué no nos platicas qué es?
Sí, por supuesto, estamos muy emocionados de estar empezando nuestro programa de fútbol y scouting. El programa de fútbol y scouting lo tendremos en asociación con el Atlas, la escuela de fútbol aquí en Sioux Falls. Sí, y tendremos un programa de registración para el próximo lunes a las 6:30, o noviembre 25. Esperemos que nos puedan venir a visitar.
Así es, que ya saben, este lunes a las 6:30. ¿Y qué edades son los niños que pueden estar?
Sí, y niños y niñas están invitados de 5 años a 10 años de edad.
O sea que ya cuando vengan el lunes y ellos van a tener toda la información y ya después de eso ya empiezan las prácticas, creo que son cada martes.
Cada martes.
Y toda la familia está invitada, pueden venir todos y pasar un bonito tiempo, echarle porras a sus hijos. Y ya saben, es mejor que eso, que estén ahí en la computadora o en la televisión todo el día. Tráiganselos a jugar fútbol.
Muchas gracias por tenerme.
Hasta luego.
When it comes to healthcare, 9 to 5 isn't always an option for me.
I get my annual screenings, but I'm not stopping for sinus infections or allergies, even though I probably should. That's why Avera Now is perfect for me. I could grab my phone, computer, or tablet, and the health system I trust is there for me instantly. And I go back to not missing a beat.
Moving at the speed of life. Avera Now.
Se trata de divertirse mientras aprendes. Se trata de desarrollar hábitos para toda la vida. Se trata de crecer carácter, pero también de crecer. Pero crecer no quiere decir crecer aparte. La experiencia de los Scouts crea mejores uniones en la familia, mientras los padres e hijos aprenden y se divierten juntos. Sé parte de algo especial para ti y tu hijo. Envuélvete en los Scouts hoy mismo.
Bueno, y ya estamos de regreso y yo quiero seguir así como platicando con Austin porque me encanta el proyecto que tiene él y ¿por qué no seguimos luego? Okay, I just wanted to shorten that out because I want to hear more about it, you know. And you were telling me, you said you had a story that you wanted to tell me.
I would tell you some differences, and these are observations, not criticisms of other people's work. But this musical is totally unique and different from Godspell. If you're familiar with Godspell, Jesus is in a Superman shirt and he's got a wig on and clown face, and it's kind of different. Jesus Christ Superstar 2 years later, very unique, but totally different from this. Let me tell you why. Both of those musicals, whether they're considered Christian musicals or not, both of them end in death. There is no hope, no resurrection.
Right.
This biblical musical that God wrote through me, it goes all the way up from the birth and the announcement of the dream and then the birth of Jesus, his life when he's 12 years old, all the way till he's 30, till he's 33 and a half when they kill him, and then there's the resurrection.
So you have a piece of resurrection in there.
And we have the hope of eternal life. That's why I know people are going to be touched by this, because it's a historical fact. It's also something by faith we truly believe in. There's no other hope. I've always told people, go to any tomb of any religious leader, and if the bones are there, I'm not changing. But I know this: the body, the resurrected body of our Lord Jesus Christ, sits at the right hand of God, and I have by faith know that. I embrace that. I teach that. I share that. I live by that. And if there's any other name, let me know. But I know the resurrected Lord lives and reigns right now at the right hand of the Father. So he goes up to the ascension and then it ends. So I want to tell you one other story. My wife, if I can.
Yes, please.
My wife was looking over these 20 songs that were given to me 12 and a half years ago, and she said, "Where's the song about the blind man? About the man who's born blind and been healed?" And I said, "Honey, I didn't have a song. It wasn't given to me." She said, "I really think you should go down and pray about it and write a song about the blind man." And I kind of thought, oh man, I don't. And just like the story you were telling me, I went down there one day and I said, I'm gonna pray about this and take a shot. I dug out the same keyboard. This was about 6 months ago, not 12 and a half years ago. And I started thinking about a man who might say, all my life I've heard of something called the light. And all my life they've told me of darkness and of night. I know not what they mean. I know not what they say. All I know is all I see is nothing every day. Oh, please, open my eyes and let me see the light. I hear that there are colors and there's beauty within sight. If there's only one thing that you might give to me, let me see the light. And I started crying over this song because it came to me that way. I wrote it down.
But you are a person that probably wrote a lot of poems before.
You know, I have. Yes.
Because the words are so poetic. You know, you don't even. I'm sure singing is great, but I'm sure that you would enjoy it even as a written.
Yeah.
You know.
And I believe that it took me 10 minutes. I was exhausted and emotionally exhausted when I was done, and I just thank God because that song is being sung by Steph Kars, who is an award-winning, outstanding. He was down in Nashville, lives in Florida. He's won awards for cinematography. He's won the kind of awards that Steven Spielberg. If you look him up, his name is Steph, S-T-E-P-H, Kars, C-A-R-S-E. Steph Kars. Look him up and listen to his song Amazing Grace, his video. And then he said, I want to sing that song. So we got him to sing Let Me See the Light, and it's featured on the soundtrack. Now, if you want to come to the show, November 20th, Wednesday night, is the world premiere, 7 o'clock at Sioux Falls Christian Jeske Fine Arts Center.
How do they get their tickets?
They can go to, very simply, usiouxfalls.edu /tickets. usiouxfalls.edu /tickets. And it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's a Sunday matinee at 2 o'clock. We hope to sell out all performances. I think we're going to. We're on our way. So I hope people will come. I guarantee you they're gonna see a biblically based musical, but they'll be entertained as well as encouraged because these songs are all from God. I believe that.
And with a happy ending.
Very very happy ending. Yes, a very happy ending. Thank you for saying that.
Well, you know, my kids, the first time I show my kids one of those movies that they've done about the life of Jesus Christ, he got to that point where he gets sacrificed, and one of the things that I had trouble is explaining why most of them, that was the biggest part of the movie, and I know that, you know, being a Christian involves sacrifice, involves a lot of that stuff, but that's not all there is, and life doesn't end like that. Well, I guess life ends like that, but then it continues with resurrection, and so I'm glad that you included that in there. Yes. I didn't know that, but now I'm even happier. Now I feel more confident taking my kids now.
Yes, and thank you. And Joe Obermuller, who's the director there, I haven't seen it, and I kind of don't want to see it. He's done something really special in presenting that resurrection moment, and I can't wait to see it, because I just know, you know, our lives, there's not a one of us who gets out of here alive.
Right.
But Jesus said, you know, I am the life, and I have the life. I have the power of life in my hands, and we believe in the resurrection. Otherwise, what hope is there after life without Jesus Christ? So that's where we put our faith. And until somebody else raises from the dead, I'm not moving. I believe in Jesus. I trust in Him.
Well, Austin, thank you so much for being here with us today,
brother. Thank you.
I'm not gonna let you go that fast after we finish here, because I still have some questions for you.
Great.
I don't know. I almost feel like we should have made this a two-show kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Amigos, nos tenemos que ir. Ojalá que puedan ir a este gran evento. Va a estar, pero muy divertido. Pueden llevar a los niños. Va a ser muy familiar y va a representar muchas cosas que otros no han representado antes. Así es que los invitamos. Gracias a Vera McKinnon, a Pulso Hispano y a USA Media TV. Y gracias a ustedes por estar con nosotros hoy. Hasta luego.
Muchas gracias a nuestros patrocinadores.